Yes, welcome everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's March 5th, 2020. The show, as always, is presented to you by the Marijuana Times. Find some marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find the show. A lot of great articles and great writers as well. marijuanatimes.org today. Talking about Maine. Still waiting. Still waiting in Maine. Also some news about medical marijuana in Missouri and some recreational sales numbers, adult use sales numbers out of Illinois for month number 2 of adult use sales. That's coming up. First, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides grow safe and poison-free with NatureSide. Don't use harmful chemicals or ban pesticides on what you are growing instead. Use NatureSide, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Now for well over 600 episodes. Thank you, NatureSide, for your continued support. This first story by yours truly at marijuanatimes.org. Waiting in Maine. Really don't know how much more I can say about this. We've talked about Maine, obviously, for a long time. Voters in November 2016 approved adult use legalization in Maine. Paul LePage was a very hostile governor, was in Maine at the time. There's a lot of legal challenges and problems. Now there's a new governor, more hospitable to implementing, finally, the will of the voters in 2016. So things are moving along, but as you can expect, yes, there are more delays. They're hoping for spring. Now the new prediction, at least by some, has been mentioned, at least June, summer. As I say in the article, predictions at this point are pointless. April, June, September, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what they say. Do you expect it when they say it's going to happen? No. You'll know when there's recreational sales in Maine. You'll know. It'll be all over the news. There'll be stores, or a store, whatever. There'll be a limited number. There'll be shortages. There'll be high prices. There'll be long lines. The same way there are everywhere else. Because no one knows how to do this. No one knows how to do this. It's crazy. Oklahoma, medical marijuana, they stand alone as the people who figure this out. And then it's not that difficult. You just do it, you get it done. Even now, most of the roadblocks have been cleared away, but there's going to be committees and task force and talks, and it has to be discussed. It all has to be discussed so much because everybody's convinced, at least in the lawmaking community, that this is such a difficult subject. It has to be treated very carefully because marijuana is very dangerous. But it's not. It's not. It's not a big deal. In fact, there's an entire industry of cannabis sales that have existed for 80 years without any government oversight whatsoever. And, I mean, there's been problems with it, obviously, because, you're blocked from certain things, like resources, taking things, your disputes to the court system, things of that nature. The obvious problems that come from prohibition. You can't buy TV advertising or any kind of advertising if you're just a guy selling weed at your house. The list goes on about the problems, but it existed. It functioned. The sales happened. You just got to tweak some things for the legal market. Hey, now you can advertise because it's a legal product, but no, still that's restrictions and regulations. You can't have billboards, you can't have TV. You got to make sure that 68.4% of the people who are seeing this are not children. The list goes on and on. And they're waiting in Maine. How long are you going to wait? I have no idea. I don't. I don't mean to be an a-hole about it, but nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. Just know that whatever they say is probably going to be later than that. That's my prediction. If they finally land on a month or a day, no, there'll be a problem. Speaking of problems, apparently there's problems with the implementation of Missouri's medical marijuana program. This looks like a drug cartel. Lawmakers continue bashing medical cannabis rollout in Missouri. Lawmakers looking at the birth of Missouri's medical marijuana program are not happy with what they're finding. As soon as they sat down for a third oversight hearing Wednesday, legislators let loose on officials overseeing marijuana business permits, accusing them of everything from simple incompetence to fostering a cartel. Lyndall Fraker, the director of the state's medical marijuana program, later dismissed most of the criticism, saying many accusations coming out of the House committee are, quote, just not true. Very robust defense. That's really the apparently this Fraker. That's their attitude to this whole thing is just very dismissive, and but that's not. I mean, these people, these lawmakers, they want control. They want to oversee things. They want to, even if they're not doing their jobs, they want to find someone else not doing theirs and say, hey, what are you doing? And you say, hey, I'm in the government. I'm not doing my job either. But they need to yell at somebody. So here you go. The cannabis community has accused a corporate parent of Nevada-based Wise Health Solutions of conducting boot camp training in which it taught people how to write applications for medical marijuana. Wise Health will later score, according to previous reporting. So apparently there's a lot of questions about the scoring, what's been going on, people, conflict of interest concerns surrounding the company that was hired to blind score permit applications for the state. Governor Mike Parson appointed Fraker, a fellow Republican, to the job. Fraker has 17 years experience as a Walmart manager. I'm sorry I shouldn't laugh, but I did. What of it? 2 years as a county commissioner and 8 years as a state representative. I don't. Again, I know I'm a broken record, but how hard is this? Really? Why are the whole scoring of applications thing has always dumbfounded me with medical marijuana. The government's going to create an artificial number of slots and create artificial standards and hire someone who will maybe decide whether or not these people meet those artificial standards for this artificial number of slots. If they just picked at random, they have no idea. They have no idea what the demand is in the state. They don't know if they need 40 dispensaries or 400. They don't have a clue what the right number is. And then they're scored, and then there's always problems. There's always problems with the people who get denied. And there's appeals, there's lawsuits, there's recriminations, there's accusations. This person cheated, this person didn't do this right, this person has conflict of interest. It's all artificial problem created. Just, if someone wants to open up a medical marijuana dispensary, you set some whatever, if you feel a need to set standards or whatever, set them, and then they open up their business, and they either adhere to that or they don't. They fail in the marketplace or they survive in the marketplace. This notion we're going to fill out applications and they're going to have this other person scoring these applications, and then they're going to decide who gets these limited number of slots. It's not working. There's always problems. It always ends up in court. And again come the delays. All the delays. Which we'll see in Missouri. There'll be delays. There'll be plenty of them. And it just goes, I don't know. I know I sigh a lot and say I don't know, but I don't. It's crazy how difficult this is being made to be. A relatively simple thing. Just blown out of proportion. To the point where it ends up in the courts. Why? Why? Is it that hard to open up a medical marijuana dispensary? Or, to grow marijuana? But the problem, of course, comes in when you have hundreds of pages of all these rules and regulations and things you have to adhere to, when it shouldn't take that much. Like I said, you want to have limits? Fine. Have a couple key things, a few pages, something that someone can read in an actual single sitting, and they either meet their standards or they don't, and you move on. You have inspectors or whatnot, but applications and scoring and some places, lotteries, they were doing lottery in Ontario up until recently, in Canada. It's unnecessary complication of what is a simple thing. And why that is, the reasons are many. They're varied and many. So last story from ChicagoTribune.com. Illinois recreational marijuana sales totaled $35 million in February, a decline from January when they saw almost $40 million in sales. Industry analysts said the market still holds promise. In January, recreational weed sales totaled more than $39 million. With 2 fewer shopping days in January, February sales to Illinois residents totaled $25.6 million, while out-of-state residents spent almost $9.2 million. One of the reasons, and we've talked about this before, the shortages in Illinois. A lot of stores either stop selling recreational product or set certain times or set certain limits or a combination of all of those or some of those. And it's had a depressing effect. Not depressing like you're, depressed, although I guess if you stand in line for a really long time to get a little bit of weed, you may be depressed. I don't know. But a depressing effect on sales because you're making people go through a lot to come buy your legal weed. I'm not saying that this is the fault of the businesses. Maybe some of it is, but most of it again is just the restrictions and the regulations and the slow rollout and all of this incremental, slow-paced implementation of these things. And you're asking people to go through a lot. Go through a lot to say, hey, I'm not going to call this guy I've been buying weed from for 7 years. I'm going to go wait in line and pay a lot of extra money at a recreational shop for the novelty, for whatever reason. That you would go somewhere and stand in line and pay a lot more money for something you could probably buy relatively easily from someone you know in a short amount of time. Why make it hard? We talked about this yesterday. The notion that everything's got to start small and then go out instead of just leaving it kind of wide open and then reining it in, and the pros and cons of both. This is what we see from the restrictive nature. You're really forcing people to make a decision which overall financially is probably not in their best interest. But they will, like I said, for whatever reason, to be part of the legal marketplace and not have to worry about, criminal penalties or, looking over their shoulder or the novelty of it or the historic nature of it, for whatever reason. They are ignoring the incentives to stay with the illicit market and coming down to the local legal shop. And that'll have an effect on sales. Apparently it's not a great one as of yet. And I don't think it will be until there's more weed to buy. We want to buy weed. Sell them weed. Again, overcomplication. It's selling weed. We pretty much figured it out. Selling weed. You have some weed, you grow it, you put it in a container of some sort. Person comes with money, they give you money, you give them the weed. They leave, you keep the money. It's like called selling weed. Pretend it's a lamp, and the mechanism that you go through to sell a lamp, but instead it's not a lamp, it's weed. And there you go. Solve the dilemma. The lamp. Think of it as a lamp. You're building a lamp in a field. You harvest the lamp. You sell the lamp to someone. Now, you get the lamp in your head. Now replace the lamp with weed. Bam. Bam. We're done. We're done. It's maybe the last episode. I solved it all. I solved everything. It's a lamp. Thanks, everybody, for checking out Cannabis News. Maybe change to lamp news tomorrow. I don't know. I have to think about it. If tomorrow's episode is lamp news, we know why. We're here 5 days a week. MarijuanaTimes.org. Will it become the LampTimes.org? I don't know. It's above my pay grade. In any case, search the Marijuana Times on YouTube. Subscribe. Click the notification bell so you know when new episodes have dropped. Thanks to NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening and continuing to learn about lamps. That's lamp news, everybody. Thanks. I'll see you next time. Right here on Cannabis News.